Hey everyone, how's it going? Matt here today from TechSmart with a drop test video between the Samsung Galaxy S5 and the Samsung Galaxy S4. This is the brand new release of smartphone from Samsung, comparing it to last year's iteration of the S4. Now the build quality in these is slightly different, however last year's S4 drop test didn't yield that great of results when it came to durability, so we'll see how the S5 this year stands up to a couple different heights of drops. Real quick here before we get started, you can win one of the brand new S5s or an HTC One M8. All you have to do is simply leave a comment what you think about the video down below, as well as like this video, and you'll be automatically entered to win that giveaway, which is happening on Twitter. So thanks guys for entering and watching this video, and without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to dropping. Alright, so the first drop will be from pocket height, and this is to simulate if you took the phone from your pocket and it slipped out of your hands. First up is the S4 from pocket height in 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to do the S5 from pocket height again, dropping in 3, 2, 1.
As would be expected with a drop from this height, both phones are rather unscathed after the first drop. The only true visible damage to either of the devices is along the side, as you can see on the side of the S5, and then a tiny bit on the side of the S4. Both screens are still obviously flawless, which is nice to see considering this is such a short height to drop the phones from.
Next up, we have the drop from head height, simulating a phone call and if the phone were to slip out of your hands. First up is the S4. Here we go from head height in 3, 2, 1. Here's the S5 from head height, dropping the phone in 3, 2, 1.
It's refreshing and reassuring to see that both phones have held up fairly durable for a head height drop, which is approximately 6 feet on my body. Still, the only damage is to the edges of the phone, with the scratches along the chrome on the side of the S5 mainly, and then a tiny bit on the S4. Both the front screens as well as the back glass covering the camera are both unscathed after all these drops, no cracks, which is a nice change to see for both these devices.
With both phones still in rather good condition, what we're going to do now is an above the head height drop with the screens facing down. This is usually the best case scenario for having a phone to be broken or to simulate the worst case scenario. So again, we're going to start with the S4 above the head. I'm about 6 feet, so this is probably about a 7 or 7.5 foot drop above the head with the screen face down. So here we go with the S4 in 3, 2, 1. Alright, and now for the S5 with the screen face down above the head in 3, 2, 1.
Even with all the previous drops, and then including this one which was dropped from above the head, both phones are still holding strong. The main component, the screens, are both still flawless on each device. However, the one thing is that this drop did manage to crack the back glass on the back of the Samsung S4. It's nothing too major, but it is definitely worth taking note of. Also, if you didn't notice too in the last shot, the S5 actually landed completely face down square on the glass, which should have cracked it, but it only managed to simply pop off the back and it was good to go.
So up until this point, the phones have held up rather well. What we're going to do for the last test is standing on here, holding them above the head, trying my best to make sure the screens land face down. This is probably feasibly the highest you'll drop your phone from. I'm just going to run it once more with the S4 and then the S5, and we'll see how they stand out after that. So here we go for the first test from, I would say, just about 10 feet, again, trying to make the phone land face down as good as possible with the Samsung Galaxy S4, dropping in 3, 2, 1. Here we go with the S5, dropping the phone in 3, 2, 1.
Unfortunately, it was this test that did it in for the screen on the Samsung Galaxy S4. The slow motion shot shows that it actually landed on the corner, popped up, flipped over, and then landed on the opposite corner, even though we were going to try to make it land on the screen first. It is worth remembering though that this was from 10 feet and it already had been dropped previously a couple different times. When we go ahead and take a look here at the S5, we see that the screen still is flawless, which is surprising, but let's see if that stands up for long. Now, of course, what other way do we have to go than take standard procedure of actually running over the phone with a car if it has survived all the drops up until this point? So that's exactly what we'll do. Here's the S5 prepared to be run over with an SUV. So I'll be completely honest, I was not expecting this from the S5 this year. Even after 4 separate drops, landing on its face at least once and then getting driven over by 2 wheels of a car, the most that's happened to this phone is just the back glass on the camera has cracked. Considering Samsung has been one of the last smartphone providers to actually stay away from using a metal or aluminum body, this is very, very impressive. For those of you who saw the results from last year's drop test, you may remember that the S4 was down and out for the count fairly fast. So when I saw the S5 this year, I had a feeling it may succumb to the same fate. But as you can see in these drop tests, that is not the case. I'm glad to say it. It's nice to see that the S5 stands up this well despite being primarily plastic, and it should be something you consider as you possibly upgrade to this phone. Thanks so much guys for watching, I hope you liked the video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.